So Amazon's closing the game down. I mean, what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to say? I hit level 60. I hit level 60 on Sunday. I get to the Isabella dungeon to fight her. I give it a quick try, just for fun. I say I'm just going to wait and start next week on trying to fight Isabella. I go to sleep. The next day, I take a little break, but that night I'm like, what is going on? All these weird titles people have on their, their streams. I'm like, some guy was streaming and it said, "So long, New World," and someone else was streaming and their title said, like, "It's been great, so sad, bye, New World." And I was like, what are they talking about? This is ridiculous. Why is everybody so sad? And I was like, wait a minute. It sounds like they're closing the game down. And then I like said, oh, okay, so I'll just pop into a stream and see what somebody's saying. And they were like, yeah, man, this is crazy. They're closing it down. They laid everybody off. They're like laying off like 30,000 people. Not just from the games place, but they're just shutting it all down, man. And it's almost like, why did they ever get in the business to begin with? Why did the company bite off more than it could chew, you know? And it's funny because there's a lot of stuff in the game that I think is sort of problematic, like awkward problems in the game. The constant attacks while you're talking to NPCs, but they're glitchy little stupid things that they could fix if they wanted to. No mini map. I mean, this isn't hard. It's actually not that hard to be a game developer. You know, coding is hard. Sure. Writing a good story is hard, of course. But these little things to figure out how to fix problems, this isn't hard. All you have to do is set 3 or 4 PCs up in a room with some comfortable chairs and just watch 3 or 4 people play the game. That's it. You'll know. You'll know all the problems. 2 people. I'd go with 3 or 4. You could do it with 2. Just say, hey, just play the game for a few hours. I'm going to watch you. Yeah. Anything you don't like, just say, well, what is it? Yeah. Almost everybody sitting at this game would probably go, where's the goddamn mini-map? And then the developer could just write down a notebook. Why did we forget the mini-map? Let's just put that in next Tuesday, okay? Somehow, this company that's now gone, gee, I wonder why. Why would you fire all these people? This is a hard one. Let me see. Because they were stupid, maybe. That's usually why people get fired, because they act like dumbasses. So they show up at the office every day at Amazon Games, and they have this game running for 4 effing years, maybe 5. And they sit down at their desks every single goddamn day. And they look at the screen, and the game comes up, and they're getting lost. They can't turn off on the roads properly, even if they've been developing this game for 5 years. These guys, I know it, they can't find their way around, and they keep opening the map. I don't even know how to say it politely. If you're that effing stupid of a game developer, you're not going to be working. You're not going to be working. Your company is going to fire you and everybody who works for you. Simple as that. And they're going to say, either let's start over with a better crew. And what's odd is this crew was good enough to make a pretty damn good game in the beginning. So whoever designed the game at first must have thought along the lines of saying something like, let's make a game that's highly realistic, but in the fantasy world sense. Not like Warcraft, which is very sort of cartoony and exaggerated, almost Art Deco. It's kind of the Art Deco game of games. They wanted to make, with New World, a thing that was much more sort of genuinely immersive. And so part of that was the reality of all the things in the world, but also the way they do the combat and the way you move around, and the combat has that realistic RPG sort of single player kind of quality to it. And it's good in that sense because it gives you this feeling of actually engaging in the combat, which is good. Now they make little mistakes in it from my perspective, my amateur perspective, and it's a little glitchy at times. The people get hung up on each other too much. It's you get boxed in and you're like can't get out, and things are sometimes a little slow to respond. But in general, the combat is immersive. It's real. It's like. And that's way better than like Warcraft's combat, which is just basically, it's almost just like it almost might as well be turn-based. Personally, I just despise turn-based. That's why I just cannot put up with, what's the name of the Dungeons and Dragons game? The new one. I got through a bunch of that and I got into the city. Baldur's Gate 3. The turn-based thing, if you're not around a table with people talking and eating snacks, and you're in a computer game, that turn-based thing just drives me up the wall. I find it far more awkward than any other kind of combat in a game. But so the combat is good and not quite good enough in New World. They had it good. It's a great way to do the combat in one of these games. But what they didn't do is really polish it over the years. Polish it and make it really slick. They just never quite made everything in this game really slick and smooth and like thought about how to make everything like absolute top of the line movement. You can tell they never quite got there, and it's irritating. And the lack of the mini-map, I'm sorry, the disastrous. It calls into question, for me, every single developer in the games division at Amazon. It makes me want anyone walking by down the hall, glancing in through an open doorway, seeing the game on the screen. Where's the mini-map? It's just it just should have been a thing, and it wasn't. And so, frankly, if it were me, if I were running Amazon Games, I probably would have said, well, the game's not doing well enough. No, it's not profitable. And, you haven't shaped the game up very well. You have not polished it properly. You've had plenty of time to do that. You've still got standing queues when people want to get in the game. You've never fixed that. Someone's got to go. I probably would not have shut down the whole damn company. But the game's still here. Somebody maybe Microsoft would buy it. Maybe Blizzard will own it soon. And, because they'll probably know how to put a proper UI on it. The UI has some nice things about it. It's just a little like flat and, it's almost like the UI is a little bit too modern for the atmosphere of the game. It sort of pops out and it's like, oh, modern UI with like modern fonts and stuff. Sometimes it's a little jarring somehow, I find. It works pretty well though. It's pretty simple, which I can't say for World of Warcraft, which has a whole slew of confusing things that After years of playing, I still don't know what things do in World of Warcraft, and I'm like too scared to even try to press them because I'm like, I don't want to. Something horrible will happen. This game has a very straightforward UI. It's just they never really cleaned the game up. After all those years, they never said, how do we make this really, really polished? I know it's improved. That's what people say. I never played it in the beginning. All I know is the game's been out for 4 or 5 years. I can see right now the clumsy awkwardness built into the game, and it just doesn't indicate that they put enough effort in to that. I would think that before making downloadable content for the game, you would have polished it. Maybe they did, but they didn't polish the right things. I mean, it's like I haven't been enjoying the game, but getting frustrated at these problems. And I can see why they got fired. I can see why. It's understandable. It's totally understandable. There are other games, I don't know. But on the basis of this game, I can see what the logic of the company was. Main logic was they want to save money or not spend all the money on games, spend it somewhere else. Sure. But if this game company were really ripping and working really well, they would have probably done something else. They might have even sold off that division. Why not? Sell it to some other big game company that would want new. Maybe they will sell something off. Who knows? But company did not make that decision based on some stupidity. They made it because it makes totally good business sense. They would not fire all those people in the game. I don't know about the other people. 30,000. They don't have 30,000 people working in their game division. I know that. I'm sure that's so. But just with the game thing, I can see why it happened. It's obvious. I'm sure that as business improves, as the industry, nobody's sure of anything with AI. And the fact is, pretty damn soon, AI is going to make an entire game from A all the way to Z. Graphics, code, story, voiceovers, every single aspect of a game is going to be generated by an AI, and I'm talking full-scale MMO or RPG, full-scale, highly realistic graphics, gigantic world to the extent where you're going to have worlds being attached onto world, making a vast world. I mean, things, 20, 30, 40, 50 times the size of Red Dead Redemption, New World. And it's going to be built in 30 minutes by AI. They're basically going to be able to sit there and go, do this game, and boom, the game will exist on a server. 30 minutes is probably too long. I'm saying 30 minutes to give at least some, the work of 500 people over 5 years for $60 million is going to happen in a 30-minute time frame with not a single human intervening, unless it's just the idea person at the beginning. But that's just for show because the AI can generate the idea too. It's going to happen. Movies. Think about Pixar. Pixar makes animations. Well, you can start there. Start there with Toy Story. Write Toy Story Part 20 and generate the film. It should be 95 minutes long and generate a film fully ready for digital projection starting premiering next, Friday night. And within 40 to 60 seconds, you'll have a feature film animation ready for the theaters. That's why Amazon fired everybody. But the AI also will not forget the goddamn mini-map. Okay? So there are advantages here. And look, AI, whatever we think of AI, we can think whatever we want. It can make us as mad as we want. We can think it's taking people's jobs. Everything's going to be screwed. That's like people in 1904 that said these cars are going to put all the horse and buggy drivers out of work, all the wagon guys out of work. Shameful. These engines, little did they know they'd pollute the planet. But it's the same thing. You're just spitting in the wind if you don't think movies and games and all this stuff is just going to be boom made like that. If you don't think that, then you're already right there not going to be able to work anywhere. You just can't go. You're just not going to be able to work anywhere. Almost every company is now saying you have to be conversant in AI. You have to start using AI. You have to show proficiency using AI. If you can't, you're just done. You're just out. There's no use for you. You're from 1950. So anyway, this is what's going on. It's just the real thing. It's just what's happening. I'm actually gonna start New World, and I'm gonna fight Isabella in the thing. That's where I left it, and I want to try to beat her. And I'm thinking that to do that, I'm gonna have to drop some of my armor. I'm gonna have to go from medium. I think I'm gonna have to go to light. I'm gonna have to be lightweight so that I can run around faster and dodge her. She has these long, light curve things that she sends out along the floor, and I think I'm gonna need to be able to really roll out of there and dodge them. Otherwise, I don't think I'll have a chance. And I think I'm also going to need to hit her with a ranged weapon, like a musket or something, at times. So I'm going to keep the axe, the two-handed, two-bladed axe, or what is it? What's it called? Whatever it is, and drop some armor and get a musket involved. I think. So let me switch over to the game screen just because I want to start playing. I probably don't have a very popular opinion about these things. All I know is that when I use AI, I enjoy using it for certain things. I have it's useful if you aren't being overly dependent on it. But I also understand that it's scary, and yes, people can be put out of work. And it's probably happening too fast. But, things happen fast with technology. That's the way it is. If I were out of a job because of AI, I'd be really, really upset and angry. I think anybody would, with good reason. I think artists complaining about AI being trained on images are just foolish. Of course it's trained on images. So are the artists. Every image the artist has ever looked at has been training material for them, and they're not screaming about copyright. Every painter on the planet has gone into museums and copied artworks. That's what artists do. Everybody looks at images and gets trained on them, and we don't run around giving everyone credit for it. I think the AIs, they're looking at things and they're free to learn from them. It's just stupidity to start complaining about AIs learning from things, and learning from even from words and printed from books. Of course, we all do. We all do that, just naturally. Just because AI is, devouring them at the rate of, everything that's ever been written in 5 seconds doesn't make any difference. So, we do the same if we could. Okay, so I am now going to come in here. Now, if this game will actually run without glitching, it's at, let's see if, okay, so is it doing something? Are they starting to shut it down already? Because, man, this is... What's going on here? Dudes. Okay, so... I don't quite get what's going on with the game. Let me see if I can close some crap down. If there's anything running... What? Oh, man. It's like, what's the deal? Okay, it's going to have to improve or I'm going to have to reboot. Because this is not right. I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. Let me see. You're kidding me, right? I haven't seen this before. I'm just wondering if it's doing something in the background that it needs to finish. Because it's really bad. It does say 60 frames per second, though. So then why is it doing this? I have no idea what the problem is. What the hell? If I have to reboot, I mean, look at this thing. Wasn't doing this before. I don't know what the... I'm gonna reboot, man. This is ridiculous. Well, let's go in and see. Let's see how it behaves. Of course, I'm not even dropping my armor. Look at me. I'm so full of crap. So this will be a practice run. Let's just go in and see what happens with this. Yeah. No, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. Okay. You can't be glitching like this. Okay, I'm gonna reboot the whole machine. And come right back. Because this is just... crap. I'll be right